call the Pleasant Ridge regular City Commission meeting of Tuesday, March the 11th, 2014 to order. May we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amy, will you call the roll, please?
Commissioner Foreman?
Here.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Here.
Commissioner Perry?
Here.
Commissioner Scott?
Here.
Mayor Metzger?
Here. Okay, the first item is consideration of the following minutes. The regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, February 11th, 2014, and the public hearing and zoning board of appeals meeting held Tuesday, February 25th, 2014. Is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, I move the minutes of the regular City Commission meeting held Tuesday, February 11th, 2014, and the public hearing and zoning board of appeals meeting held on Tuesday, February 25th, 2014 be approved as recommended.
Is there a second?
I second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of the February 2014 disbursement report. Do I have a motion to approve?
Mayor, I move the February disbursement report be approved as listed.
Is there a second?
Second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. Now we move on to public discussion, items not on the agenda. Please.
Ben Hamilton. I am a foundation trustee. We wanted to come and make a few announcements. The auction, May 17th, is set. The theme this year is Las Vegas Night. What happens in the Ridge stays in the Ridge. We're very, very excited to announce that it will be catered by Slow's Barbecue. Very, very excited.
Well done.
Yeah, we're very, very pleased about that. We've got a few other special things. We're going to have a wedding chapel as one of the things there. But most importantly, it is a big fundraising event. We're hoping we get a strong attendance this year. The goal right now is to raise money for the Gainsborough Park project, as well as other things for the city. But we're hoping for a large turnout. We're also putting a request out for items to be donated. And even more importantly, volunteers. So anyone who's interested in helping us set up, we're going to have games like we did last year, roulette, blackjack. So we'll be looking for dealers. And we're also going to be looking for people to sell tickets. So very important. Also wanted to remind everyone that April 1st is the deadline for the PR scholarship. Any Ferndale District resident, as long as they're a Ferndale District resident, they can go to private or public schools, are eligible for this. We offer, I believe, 5 scholarships. So that's what we did last year. But again, April 1st is the deadline. The website, pleasantridgefoundation.org, has information and the forms to fill out for prospective candidates. We also, in the upcoming Ridger, are going to have an article in there about membership joining the foundation. We've been a little lax at pushing for membership, and that's something we're going to start this year. Again, I mentioned the website, pleasantridgefoundation.org. We also have a Facebook page. We're trying to get the community involved. You're going to be able to go on there and see some of the things in the past the foundation has done. So we just wanted to kind of give a quick little update that the auction date is set, May 17th. It's the third Saturday in May. So
It's great that you came. I just wanted you to know that I am authorized to perform weddings. So, so if there's anything
I am as
going,
well. So.
No competition. Everything.
No, we've got some ideas on that. So yes, I think we'll be recruited for that. So,
Okay, sounds good.
but again, you'll be seeing there'll be a lot of updates coming up. We're going to try and make sure people are aware of everything. Ticket prices are going to be announced probably the next week or two. So,
Right.
if anyone has questions, go to the website. Our emails are on there.
Wonderful.
So
Whatever we can do.
Dealing lessons last time were really fun.
yeah,
And
we
the dealing
will
lessons.
have probably a volunteer party as well, just to train dealers and that. So we're looking forward to it.
That was great.
Thanks a lot.
Mr. Mayor, real quick, if you need an expert on Las Vegas weddings, I got married in Vegas. And I actually was married in a drive-thru. So.
See, you're volunteering already. I like that. Two volunteers already.
So he'll be driving. These people put him in the back
Exactly,
seat.
yeah. So it's, they'll do anything there.
I know they will.
So let me know.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Hello. My name is Crystal Proxmire. I am the editor and publisher of the Oakland County 115 News Hub, which is an online newspaper that has just recently expanded from Ferndale to covering multiple cities in Oakland County. I've been covering some stuff from Pleasant Ridge online mostly, and meeting people at events, but I wanted to come and introduce myself in person so that everyone can know who I am. And if there are any groups that have information, we're happy to share that. So the website is oc115.com, and happy to run press releases, any story ideas, that type of thing. And I look forward to covering all of you guys.
I just wanted to say how easy you are to work with.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Crystal. Sure. Of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
You have to wait to government reports now.
Oh my gosh. See, I came
Oh, no. Sorry.
All right, Rob. Second, 8 Fairwood, Rob.
Yes.
Scott, so is that why you're called the Minuteman? Put on Paul. A couple things.
Let's strike that from
Don't put that.
Drive through. At any rate, I have a friend who's currently renting a house on Sylvan. She's getting booted out because the homeowner's coming back. She's looking for a house to rent in Pleasant Ridge because she loves us. So anybody knows a rental, she needs to be out by June 1st. Please, her name is Lynn. I'll give you her phone number, not last name. It's 248-514-4411. If you could call her, we want to keep her here. Love her. And this is totally unlike me, but I'm going to give a plug to Cork. They happen to have a new hamburger on their menu, which is to die for. Sorry, it's really good, and I don't. Yeah. So
This is a whole new.
oh yeah, this is a whole new side. Yeah.
Rob is now doing.
Oh yeah, I'm doing plugs. We do. This is a non-paid advertisement. So yeah, that's all I have.
That's really. Oh, I'm so sorry. By the way, Commissioner Scott, Lynn, who's looking for the home, does the voiceover for Design Your Chrysler 200 car.
Really?
I ran into her today, and so she loves you, Rob. And she's now communicating with Robert Campbell. She's getting the word out there. So we hope to keep her because she does love Pleasant Ridge.
She came from Birmingham.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to leave.
Yep. Are there? Oh well, it's one of those months. Are there any other?
There you go.
Okay. Next item is consideration of the governmental reports, and Ann Haig, you get first because you're on the really on the agenda.
Well, Ann Haig from the Huntington Woods Library, and I just came to update you on what's going on at the library. If any of you have been on our website, we have a new webpage, so it's a lot easier to use. And on there, you can download books from Overdrive and music from Freegal, and with the music, you get to keep it. So there's, it's from the Sony Music Collection, so it's pretty easy to use. You just need a library card and I think your PIN. And
How do we get a pin?
Usually it's assigned to, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can go
everyone?
for everyone. Yes. And you can go in there and change it to whatever you can remember. So so it's very easy. It's either that or Change Me, but I think they got rid of that. And now it's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, good, because Change Me always worked for me.
Yeah. So.
And I never changed me.
So with that, you can download books and music, and it's set up for programs. We have a calendar. It's simple to use, very simple to use. So it's nice. And if you have problems using that, we do offer a program called Cyber Citizens, and that's the second Saturday of the month from 2 to 4. You come in with your computer questions. We have the kids from the Berkeley High robotics team that volunteer. They're great. They know everything. They come in and they help you. And so we have a lot of people that come in every month for that, and they're very happy with them. We get emails from people that say, I've never had an email account, I don't know how to use a computer, and these kids showed me how to do this, and they're great. So.
And they don't roll their eyes, right?
Oh my gosh, no, and they're so patient. They are. They're wonderful. They're wonderful. And they just know it. You know, it's amazing.
Excuse me, when is that again?
That's the second Saturday of every month from 2 to 4.
Thank you.
Usually we have about 8 kids that come and donate their time. On Mondays, the fourth Monday of each month, we have a library book discussion group, and the titles rotate every month from fiction to nonfiction, so you can call the library, because we can't really try to pick books. We do pick them, but then when we try to order them, they may not be in stock, or they're not in paperback. They're all paperback books. So if you're interested, just call the library. And then we have some programs coming up. Tomorrow we have a jazz and blues program on Detroit by R.J. Spangler. It's at 7 o'clock. So it's a talk, and then he's going to play some music. So that should be interesting. And then March 19th, we have a program on the Korean War. And it's called America's Forgotten War. Oh. And then in March 23rd, we have a program. It's called Get to Know Your Library, Get to Know Your Friends. And it's a dulcimer program with a wine and cheese reception. So everyone's invited to that. And that's Sunday, March 23rd at 2 o'clock. So you can tour the library. Yeah, and then in April we have a program called 1,000 Letters Home, and it's war correspondence during World War II. A daughter found 1,000 letters written by her father during World War II. So yeah, to his girlfriend, now wife, and family, describing what it was like. So, it's interesting. And then in May we have Bargains to Bounty, which is in and out of online couponing. So May 21st. And then we also offer a homebound delivery service for Honey's Woods and Pleasant Ridge. So if you know anyone, call the library. We'd be happy to deliver. And then the Friends of the Library are holding their annual or monthly book sale Saturday, April 5th from 10 to 3. So, and the library hours are Monday through Thursday, 10 to 9, and Saturdays, 10 to 5. And do you have any questions?
Mayor, no, I just wanted to thank Ann. I contacted you via email a few months ago, and you were very helpful. I was trying to get our own book club started here, and one thing I thought that we could mention that I didn't know was a service that residents enjoy through the Huntington Woods Library is the interlibrary loan system throughout Michigan. I was aware that we could take our library card to other libraries in the area, but what I was unaware of, and maybe you could share how that works, how we could locate any book in the system in Michigan, it could be sent to our home library.
Yeah, so if you go on the catalog, which is on the website, you look and see if the 53 libraries in the cooperative have it. If they don't have the book, then it goes to Melcat, which is outside, and it goes all over the state. And they will deliver the books to the library and just return back to the library, and they get sent back home, and it's free.
Yeah, it's great. Pretty much any title you could think of, you could locate and have delivered to the library, and I thought that was a great service that more of our residents need to know about.
Right, and it's those, usually it's the ones that like one library has in the state that we're able to get, which is it's kind of nice. So.
Thank you.
Yeah. You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, now it's going to be Chief versus the Chief. You're so gallant, I must say.
Hello, nice to see you all again. So I've got some stuff, and then Jay's got some stuff too, so we'll see where we... Okay, so first of all, let me thank you all. It was so... What?
Gotta get your name.
Oh, my name is Nan Kermuller, and I'm on the Ferndale School Board. Thank you so much for coming for the picture and for everything else, helping us to advocate for our school district to make sure that we get adequate funding for all of the children. And Jason, thank you so much for coming all the way up to Lansing. I got super sick that day, so I didn't go, but I understand it was awesome. There were several meetings that you guys got to take part in, got to talk to Ellen Cogden-Lipton, and several of our other reps and congressmen and senators, stuff like that. So it was very good, and it doesn't stop there. So now we have an external relations committee, which Jay is also going to touch base on about too, that Karen Toomey is heading up. The next one is on April 7th at 7 p.m. And what we're working on right now is in the school board, we just passed a resolution. The governor is talking about raising funds per pupil by a certain amount of money, and we're asking that it's, I can't remember the exact numbers, but it's something like additional to what we have right now, like $250 to $289. And Kevin Dean Krause and some other, we're really working hard with Representative Cogden-Lipton to get real studies done that show how much does it cost to educate a student, so that way we have more accurate figures of what exactly we need to advocate for that would be realistic, and that we have like studies and data that go along with what we're doing. So please show up. Every month they get together, they talk about different legislation that's coming through the pipes. Kevin Deaton Krause and Karen are there, and if any of you has ever been to a presentation where Kevin Deaton Krause has presented data, it sounds really weird, but it's really a treat. I don't like data, but he can present it in a way that's really manageable and very down to earth, and it makes a lot of sense. And it's helping, I think, for all of us to be better advocates of our students. And our hope is that our entire community can, in turn, do that. I know that in Lansing it was a huge deal that when we went to Lansing, we went with multiple municipalities, school board members, community members, mayors, councilmen. You know, like it was just, it was a big deal, and not a lot of. The culture has been created where there's a lot of competition within the school systems. So to see people coming together to fight as a team, it's a special thing. And I think we all know that we already have that in our community. And I'm really excited about it. So Pleasant Ridge, you rock. I think all of you guys were there, right?
We were all there.
Yes, it was wonderful. All right, so what do we have going on right now? This Saturday, or this Friday, is the FEF, the Foundation for Indel Education Foundation party at the Club Venetian. Tickets are $40 per person. You can buy raffle tickets for $10. Amy Butters is selling them. She's a Pleasant Ridge person. Barb Landry, Karen Toomey. All the money goes back into the educational fund, and then teachers get to write grants, and so they get laptops for their rooms, they get money to take field trips, they get to do a lot of really cool things with a lot of the money that is raised at this, and it's fun. Next we've got Millie, our next spring musical, thank you, is coming, and that's on March 28th, 29th, and 30th. It's going to be fabulous. The kids have been taking tap lessons since October. It'll be a very nice time.
Do you still need tap shoes?
We do not need tap shoes that I know
Okay.
of at this point. No. The last time I was there's yeah, it's pretty cool.
Okay, good.
But no, I don't think I could be wrong, but I'm gonna say no.
Okay.
I haven't
Let
been
us
asked
know
for them.
if you need them.
I will let
Now,
you
isn't
know.
it the previous weekend also? Because I'm planning to go on the 22nd. So
Yeah.
Is it on the 22nd too?
Yeah, I think it's 21st and 2nd.
Okay,
And then
all right.
28th and 9th. That's okay. We're on top.
cover
We're on
that.
top of these
That's
things.
right. Teamwork here.
Otherwise, I'm going to be sitting in a real quiet auditorium.
It's really pretty though.
Yeah. I
Seats are comfortable.
That's right. It's a beautiful auditorium, so that's a bonus. Coolidge and JFK are both doing talent shows where it'll be the whole schools. They're working with the community. That will also be at the FHS auditorium. Coolidge will be April 26th. JFK will be May 3rd. They're both just a ton of fun, and the funds from those events go to sending our 6th graders to camp. Well, I know that all the funds go to making sure that all of Coolidge goes to 6th grade camp. And I'm pretty sure for JFK, all the funds go right to their PTA, and then they fund things like camp. So let me see. The only other thing that I have to report on is last Wednesday, we were finally able to ratify and approve the end of our contracts. So now we're really thankful to all the employees that everyone is investing in our district. We're going to be very careful and very humble in being careful with the funds that we have been given from our employees to make sure that we do not have to cut any programs and make sure that we can bolster our school district as we move forward. And I just say it all the time, we have the best staff of any school district, and they have a lot of heart, and they certainly showed that to us in the last month. So that's all I have. Do you guys have questions? You might later.
No, we'll just ask.
I'll probably pick on you in a minute or two.
All right, I'm gonna stay, so, all right, if you need anything else.
Thank you. Chief, will it be you or Isabel to do this?
Oh, Isabella probably could do it. Mr. Mayor, Commission, it's kind of with a saddened heart I have to tell you that our talks with Hazel Park have come to a complete stall, so the city of Ferndale's pulled out. The bridge isn't burned. They're looking at multiple millage ways because they're in some dire straits. So if they come back to the fire authority is a valuable thing for them to move forward on, or a combination of a couple different millage things, then they'll come back to us, but with more detail and ready to go. So we're off looking at how we're going to handle things with the budgetary concerns that are right now. We have 4 safer guys the council has kept on board. 2 of them have left. One of them hasn't gone yet, but he is this month. 2 other fire departments worried about layoffs, so that's taken us down in numbers, which has taken some financial stress off, but nevertheless we still have 4 positions that we're not budgeted into 2015 and 2016 with our 2-year cycling budgets. So we have to look at what they want to do and how we're going to fund it. So I know we'll be considering all those things too. So just to inform you, doesn't change services at any level. We have different things that's covered with overtime and that, but future of the fire department is up for grabs as how we're going to change how we're handling it. But I'm hoping maybe they'll wake up and come back to the tables and we can move forward. Fire authority is only functional to us if we move 2 agencies together with manpower and equipment versus just the authority part for taxes. That's just shifting one egg from one basket to the other. So that doesn't really help. This would have been far more productive as far as efficiencies and such. So.
But it really is a tax issue.
It's a tax issue, but it's a better tax issue with us moving 2 groups of.
Right, but I mean for Hazel Park.
Yeah, well, it's a tax issue. They're gonna have to do millages one way or the other. They gotta figure out what's best, and their commission is torn between what the best routes are. They're working on that, so they needed to back off. And they were honest. We don't want to keep you coming to the table when we don't plan on going there right now. So that's where we are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that's it for governmental reports. Okay. Thank you, Isabella. It was very nice. Very nice. The next item is consideration of the request for funding by the Ferndale Youth Assistance. Dwight,
Yep. Yeah, Mr. Mayor, we received a request from Ferndale Youth Assistance. This is a yearly item that we are one of the sponsors of the Ferndale Youth Assistance. They do a lot of different things for the people in the community, for the families, for children, and the request is for to continue the $1,000 contribution that the city has made to that organization, and they have representatives from Ferndale Youth Assistance are with us tonight, and we recognize one of them is Mr. Craig Covey, and we welcome you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say before that seeing it come up on the agenda, I decided to go to the website just to inform myself. I sent a quick note and got an immediate response. I mean, it doesn't happen very often that you send a note to a website and you get an immediate response. And immediately I was asking for more information and trying to get materials. Is there any way to get materials? And immediately, like, Craig was back and everybody was back with offering up all this and offering to come. And so tonight I'm really pleased that Craig Covey, who's the Ferndale Youth Assistance Chairman, and Lauren Kloss, is it Kloss? Yes. Who's the FYA social worker, are here in attendance to give us information, brought a lot of materials, and I know it's a wonderful organization, but I thought rather than me trying to talk about it, it'd be much better to have the representatives talk. So,
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor. We certainly appreciate being invited here. I've been on the board of the directors of Ferndale Youth Assistance for 14 years, and I can't remember a time when we were invited to come and speak. So I really appreciate it. It is a community organization. We only exist as a partnership. I also wanted to congratulate the two newer commissioners who took office this year. Congratulations, gentlemen. This is Lauren Kloss, who works with Oakland County, as well as our caseworker at Ferndale Youth Assistance. It's called that because it's a part of the Ferndale School District. As you said, I'm the chair. It is a not-for-profit organization, tax deductible. We're part of the Oakland County Youth Assistance Program. And those programs only work as partnerships with the cities, the courts, and the school districts working together. So we work with the police department, we work with the courts, we work with Oakland County, and we help at-risk youth. We help prevent problems before they get more problematic. Counseling programs, social work programs, camp. Low-income kids and lower-income kids can go to camp. Scholarship programs, family education. As a matter of fact, tonight, Lauren can share it with you if you want. There's a program going on right now at the high school, and it's called Love and Logic, and it teaches parents
different ways of parenting skills, consequences, positive boundaries, communication, different ways to respond to your children in positive ways.
The best part about it is we reach young people before they get in too much trouble. So maybe they get in a little bit of trouble, they get a referral from the court or from the police department or from a family member. And this organization is able to work with them. It's been in existence since 1960. We're totally, we get all of our funds from the cities, the courts, the school district, and the donations that we manage to raise. You might be familiar with the annual Ferndale Blues Festival. I help put on every year. It's a lot of work, but I go out every night for 9 days in a row and work the clubs. But we raise money that way. We have a bowl-a-thon. We would love to do a fundraiser here in Pleasant Ridge. On our list of things to do is to contact y'all and see if we can't do something at your community center. We're looking at an ice cream social. It's very grassrootsy. We are having a budget crunch. During the Great Recession of 08-09, our funding level was really cut by the cities, at least in the case of Ferndale. But we do get funding from the school district, from the city of Ferndale, from Pleasant Ridge, and we're getting it from Royal Oak Township, but they're having tough financial troubles right now as well. We're actually looking for a board member or two to add to our board of directors, and we'd love to have someone from Pleasant Ridge, and we always rely on volunteers as well. I'd like to let Lauren speak for a moment, and then if you have any questions, we're happy to answer for you.
Well, as stated, I am the caseworker at Ferndale Youth Assistance, and what I do as a caseworker is I meet with families and youth one-on-one and provide short-term counseling. I provide casework services, which also include referrals for resources, monitoring behavior. If I get a child who have gotten in trouble with the law, instead of going to court, they might come to me as a diversion. So we work on accountability assignments like a jail tour, community service, things like that to help them learn their lessons so that they don't continue on that path. But I do a variety of other counseling services with the families, from bullying, anger management, to coping, to conflict resolution, to self-esteem. There's just a variety of things that we do to really aim to prevent delinquency, abuse, or neglect and really help strengthen families in the community. And as Craig said, we're always looking for volunteers, most definitely board members at this moment, but there's other ways to get involved on committees. Whether you're an official board member or not, we still are looking for help and volunteers. We did give you a sheet of information on ways to get plugged in if you're interested.
Did you get any foundation support? Are you able to tap into any foundation?
We apply each year and get small grants from the Ferndale Community Foundation. Most of our funding comes from the school district, the cities. We do write small grants to the local foundations. Yeah, our budget is roughly $30,000 to $40,000 a year, so it's a pretty small nonprofit. We have a half-time office manager at the school, based at the school, and our social worker is paid for by the county, so we like that.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know if we could afford her ourselves. So we appreciate the support from the city, and we'd love to work with you closer and more often, for sure.
No, I think, yeah, I'd like to try to see what opportunities we could do as well. So $1,000 is nice, but it's a mere pittance. That
You could certainly raise it and we wouldn't complain.
I'm glad.
Mr. Mayor, I think that would be a nice partnership to be able to have a program at our community center. We can
Yes, I
help
think
with
so,
some of
too.
the cost of throwing on that program and be able to
I
supply
think it'd be
staff
great.
and things like that. I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
We believe in collaboration, for sure.
We can definitely keep in contact with them. And
No, I think
look
it's
forward
an
to that.
extremely important organization that, I don't know that I mean, I've known about it, but not that much. That's why I was looking for more information. I've been around here for a long time, and have certainly been aware of it, but not that much. And
Well,
so
last summer
it's
I
just
went,
critical.
I'm more involved in the fundraising and the management.
Right.
I don't have kids or anything, but I went to the school when they were all getting ready in the summer to go to camp, and we sent about 70 kids to camp, most of them lower income. And we sent the most of any school district in the county, which tells you something, because we're not the wealthiest district. We're okay, we're middle class. But I watched about 60, 70 families bringing their kids, and they're getting on the school bus going to camp. It was just very, very cool to watch that. So,
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you so
well,
much.
thank you again for
And we
having
will-
us.
You will hear more from us, I promise.
If I can tip my hat to Scott as well, my new boss, Jim Nash, Water Resource Commissioner, was here a couple of weeks ago. We were treated very well. We had a nice meeting. I brought you our annual report. Just want to bring you
And you sent me an
greetings.
email too, so.
Greetings from the commissioner. He's up in Rochester Hills teaching people about fracking and oil and gas drilling right now in Oakland County. So we're all doing something tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, I move that the request by Ferndale Youth Assistance, FYA, for the annual contribution of $1,000 to its organization be approved as recommended.
Is there a second?
Second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to the consideration of the city commission liaison reports. We'll start with Commissioner Perry and the Planning Commission DDA.
Great. Okay, the Planning Commission and DDA did not meet in February, but the Planning Commission has a master plan goals and objectives session on Thursday, March 20th at 6 p.m. at the community center. Now, a lot of groundwork has been done and is still being done for the master plan. And so what the Planning Commission is going to do is they will be compiling, all the information they've been getting over the past year or so with the citywide surveys, the recreation survey and recreation master plan, and the master plan visioning session, and making some determinations on the focus of the goals and objectives for the city for the next 5 years. And then those things will be included in the master plan. And the session's open to the public, and everyone's encouraged to attend. And as always, your input is welcome. What else would you say, Scott, about this session?
Yeah, it's a really like an open session for the Planning Commission to kind of go over all the things that we've already somewhat discussed, but really then kind of rank them where they see maybe the top 3 to 5 ideas or items that have come out of the survey and the vision and all these things. And then they set those goals, and then they look at some objectives of how they think they can move those into place or to actually complete them. So it's a great session. We did it with the Recreation Commission when we were doing the rec master plan, and just some good ideas come out. It's open, they're writing things on papers that are taped to the walls, and a lot like the vision session, but a little bit more detailed to what some of the stuff we've already talked about. So it's a great thing, even if you can come and watch how the process works. It can be government at its finest. I mean,
Yeah.
a good way. A lot of times people say,
Yes.
it really works the way the process works.
So that'll be Thursday the 20th at 6 p.m. up at the community center. And then along So along with the master plan, which is a huge task for the Planning Commission, the Planning Commission DDA are working on developing recommendations for the alternatives analysis for transit through Pleasant Ridge. And so this is a really good time because which I'll talk about in a moment, but the WA3 really wants our input on all of those things and how we want, transit to appear in our communities, as well as how that interacts with complete streets and trying to have a more walkable and bikeable community. And then the DDA is planning a business and marketing development committee. And so they're starting to engage with the business members in the community and put this group together so that the businesses located in our downtown can interact with the residents more, and the residents are more aware of them and how they can, how they can patronize the businesses in our town better. The parking committee is still, it's still out there. They're talking about, there's a parking situation that is being examined for the end of Devonshire next to the Fields Art Building, on that it's south of the island but north of the building. And then the DDA is also busy planning their outdoor picnics for the summer, hoping to engage the Business Marketing Development Committee in participating in that, and to have a little more different interest and discussion at those, interaction with the DDA at those very groovy community events. And then the next regular Planning Commission and DDA meeting will be held on Monday, March 24th at 7 p.m. right here at City Hall. And then the WA3 had invited us to a special session that was Pleasant Ridge, Huntington Woods, Royal Oak, Ferndale, the Zoo, MDOT, Parsons Brinkerhoff, who's a consultant on city planning, urban planning, and then Michigan Rails and Oakland County planners were all there. And they really, what they wanted was to discuss Woodward and discuss our little area, because one of the things, as we've talked about before, is that no real firm conclusion was had been developed on the best way to sort of connect us north and south and even east and west, and through a lot of these studies. So they wanted to hear what our feelings are, what our preferences are. So it's good that the Planning Commission is looking into sort of developing what they feel is the right solution for us. And then also, it can move forward as engineering and things like that start to come into play, because we are at such a complex intersection. Cost for studying that will have to come into play with all that. So, I don't know. They're exciting conversations. They are perplexing problems, though.
Yeah, I was talking briefly also with Paul Good from the zoo afterwards, and I'm going to be talking to him again. And I think what he pointed out was the most powerful picture at that particular meeting, where we all brought all these people together, was an aerial view of 696 in Woodward.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see it's absolutely not walkable. How does Pleasant Ridge get north? How do we actually get to the zoo? How can you walk to the zoo? You can't walk to the zoo without taking your life in your own hands. There's just there are no connections. And the idea, if you're going to have they're talking about possibly capping Woodward north of 696 to get a BRT, a rail station for the zoo. They're going to have to do something to put a station. But how does Pleasant Ridge get to that station? I mean, it's just, you can't cross it at Maine and then cross again and the fact is that Royal Oak doesn't see Woodward as walkable. They don't care about Woodward. They're interested in Maine and they're interested in Washington.
Right.
They see Woodward as the back of the city, the back door. They don't care. They don't want it to be particularly walkable. That's why you've got parking lots and boarded up Burger Kings and things like that. I mean, it's
right.
And so, trying to get them, as they're also looking at in that space again, 3 possible developments in that southern end, going from just actually an office building and parking to complete residential.
Right.
and so they haven't chosen that. The zoo is increasing their parking on Woodward. They're going to be building another parking lot. They have the parking lot on Woodward, and then there's what they call the grassy knoll. They're turning the grassy knoll into more parking.
Unfortunately, right.
A lot of people are talking about would they build a parking structure on 696 on the service drive
Which
you've
would
got
be
where you've got the
great.
flat lot.
Yeah.
But they say it's not financially feasible for them to do it right now. They're talking about can they share parking with whatever is built. You know, they've got that overflow parking in that one lot, but if that gets used, and
Right. Developed.
they're now looking. They were at 1.3 million visitors last year, which is their highest ever. They just got approval to build their penguinarium, which they figure is going to bring another couple 100,000 at least in those first couple years, which is just going to show you Saturday, Sunday is just going to be
Zoo.
so. A zoo. There you go. You said it. So, I mean, so that adds to the whole issue of we're not even talking about center running BRTs
Right.
and filling in the ditch. Nobody's quite sure what that is, but you bring zoo into that, you know. And
Well,
it's-
I do think, one of that discussion ended with some recommendations, and one of them was really trying to advocate for figuring out how the zoo can afford to do a multi-decked parking lot.
Right.
Lots of stories along 696. It's not going to, hurt any beautification along 696. And it would, because if they lose, at some point, if that space gets developed in Royal Oak at 10 Mile, what's going to happen?
Right.
There is no
there's no
solution.
place to go.
And I think it's just it'd be interesting to know how much would it really cost to do enough parking, because I think he went on beyond the penguinarium or whatever, and there were a couple other
There's
attractions
more. Yeah.
that they're
Yeah.
really, they have great potential and attraction. And one of the things they say, it will help when the BRT is there, because people will be able to get there. They said right now a lot of passes are going unused because, people don't have the transportation. So, the zoo is just going to get even wilder. So it's interesting.
The whole intersection.
And
Yeah.
the intersection.
But that's going to be very important for the planning commission, for that whole master planning.
I mean, when you think about it, it's amazing that it isn't already developed into something considering
Right.
where
I know.
it sits.
I know.
So
I mean,
we're
it
at
has
that
to
point where
eventually.
it's going to be.
Exactly. Someday it will be. Even if these 3 plans fall through or something,
Yeah.
someday that will not stay empty forever.
No.
So I think it only helps all of our communities if we help come together and really help solve that issue. Because I think parking it's a problem for every city along the Woodward corridor. So it's a good one. Now, the next Woodward Transit Alternatives Analysis meeting will be on Thursday, March 20th at 2 p.m. Tentatively, it's at the Berkeley Public Safety Building. They had to move the meeting off of its normal monthly date. But, so it'll be interesting to see where they are, because they're getting close to having all of their recommendations in place. And that is all.
And as you know, the other problem, and we will get to recreation, I promise, is that they have to have a source of funds. And the whole issue around, there's a question.
Right.
You've got the legislature not wanting to approve $2 million toward the RTA. That's one side of things. But in order to get any federal fund, you have to have a dedicated funding source, which means they're going to have to come up with some kind of tax or some kind of assessment or something. And now they've pushed that off to 2016. So there won't even be a vote until November of 2016 for any kind of. So everything kind of gets pushed back. But in the meantime, M1 is going to break ground soon. So there's a lot, there are things going on. So, but these decisions have to be made, and Pleasant Ridge has to be at the table, strongly at the table. And it's great that we're part of the Woodward Avenue Action Association in those discussions, and we plan to be at every discussion out there. So. Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Krzyjak, Recreation Commission.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a little review of our February meeting. The Recreation Commission welcomed new member Jean Russell to the group. We were very excited to have her, and she was immediately placed on the Community Garden Subcommittee. She's a frequent gardener. She really has taken to using that garden over the last 2 years, and we're really excited to incorporate some of her ideas into the Recreation Commission. We also reorganized some of the subcommittees in the Recreation Commission, including the Community Garden. We had a few small manpower moves, but we also talked about forming a pool subcommittee. So we wanted to encourage residents who had ideas, questions about the pool to put that on the calendar if they would like to present those during the normal Recreation Commission meetings, which are always the last Wednesday of the month at 7 p.m. at the community center. The next one will be March 26th. So that's exciting. We haven't really had a dedicated subcommittee to the pool before, so we're going to try that out this year and see how that works out for pool-related issues. A review of an event that we had a couple weeks ago, the bus trip for the 50-plus group. They went down to the parade company. There was 14 people who took that opportunity to go down there and tour the floats, and I didn't see any pictures of the big heads, but I'm sure everybody had a great time. Another upcoming event for the 50 plus will be the euchre tournament, and that is Thursday, March 20th at 6:30 p.m. and this is free to enter. We really want to encourage people if they enjoy playing euchre or they just enjoy some conversation and community to participate. We're running low on teams right now, so if anybody's looking for something to do on Thursday, March 20th, please join us at the community center for the euchre tournament. Would we open that up to younger euchre players, perhaps, or?
Yeah, that's fine. We market it when we do the marketing, and we go for the 50 plus group. But you don't have to be 50 plus necessarily to come to the group. But
Okay.
We wouldn't look at the 13 and 16 year olds coming much. Yeah, you can be at an adult age.
Okay, and another event on the
Can I ask
horizon.
you a question about that?
Yes.
So are there going to be other? Are there going to be?
You might have to sage your seat.
It's gonna make you work for it.
Rob Baker, are there going to be other besides euchre? Are there going to be other games? Is it just euchre? Sometimes these events are dinner, drinks, standing on your heads, like.
It's just like we'll have snacks, and it's not a dinner type event, and it's advertised as a euchre tournament right now. But if we don't get enough people to kind of get to that point, and we still have enough to be able to hold an event, we'll kind of go from there and see how it.
All right. So if we show up and we don't play euchre, we're not going to be turned away.
No. As long as we have enough people to be able to at least get to even that point where we can hold the event without.
Okay.
If we have four or five people signed up.
And what time is this event?
It's at 6:30.
And is it an RSVP?
Yes, just give us an email or call over to the community center or send us a message.
Okay, thank you.
You can get a tutorial on how to play Rob. No problem.
I have an app.
I'm sure.
You have an app for that?
So I just hope you're not my partner. Take that euchre very seriously.
You do?
Oh, sorry.
I don't take much serious.
Another event we have coming up is the annual pancake brunch and the Easter egg hunt. This is always a great event, and for new residents with young children, you really want to put this on your calendar. It's a great event. I know my children, all three of them, have really enjoyed this event throughout the years. It's Saturday, April 12th. The brunch will start at 10 a.m. We'll have pancakes flipping, and the egg hunt will begin at 11:30 a.m. sharp. That's rain or shine.
Well, if it's like crazy muddy and just gross outside, then we usually skip the pickup time, but we still have a bag. We'll have a bag for the kids to be able to take. It's not the type of event we can move indoors because of safety issues. But if it's way muddy, then.
Well, it seems to me that an event where 20 to 30 6-year-olds are rummaging around in the mud for plastic eggs. I mean,
Could be fun too.
sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, we kind of play by ear. We call it. Either way, we'll be
That's a
having a
whole
brunch.
difference.
So.
Especially
Okay.
after a bunch of chocolate.
But yes, that is a great event, and I encourage people to show up at that one. We also, at the last Recreation Commission, we had some other dates nailed down for the upcoming play events. The first one will be March 24th. This will be a bike decorating, and this will take place at the community center. It's a Saturday from 11 to 1 at the community center. And the intent here is to have the kids decorate their bikes with an eye towards participating in the yearly Memorial Day parade. So you come Saturday, you can doll up your bike. We'll have materials for the kids to attach, some streamers, flags, and then we encourage them to show up on Memorial Day and they could participate in the actual parade. So that's it's a little variation of what we did last year. Last year we just did the bike decorating, and then it turned into like a bike
Bonanza.
bike bonanza.
The bike bonanza.
Bike bonanza. It was a lot of fun, but there's a few hairy moments. So this year we're hoping to do the decorating and then have the kids come back on the holiday to participate in the parade. And that's again on May 24th, Saturday, from 11 to 1 at the community center. And another event that we had a lot of success with last year was our Pleasant Ridge Family Reunion event. This is scheduled for June 17th.
Wow.
And what we did last year is we just had some games for the kids. We encouraged families to bring their picnics, and it really turned into a great event. The tug of war got pretty rowdy, but other than that, there were no scrapes. And so we're looking forward to that again. That's on June 17th, the Pleasant Ridge Family Reunion. And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
I just wanted to acknowledge we had 2 participants in the parade company event.
Very
With
nice.
high regard. High,
And we saw
good
some of the
review.
400 heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you get to put one on?
We didn't go that far, no.
Excellent.
But you could get up close and personal. So.
Yeah. You guys gonna be playing euchre?
You have to have a training session.
I can work that
I
out.
need to be retrained, so let's do that.
Let's make that happen.
Let's have oh, it's coming up too fast. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Foreman?
Yes, I have a few updates from our Friendly Neighborhood Ferndale School District. Nana already covered a bit of my content, so that makes my job a little bit easier. The trip to Lansing is what I'll start with. That was on February 19th. So all of us showed up at the Ferndale High School first thing in the morning, and we had a solidarity photo there. There's quite a crowd of people. Parents, staff, teachers, city administration, city leadership. There's a lot of good energy in the crowd. It was really a fun event, and the Eagle was there. I don't know if he's got a name, but
Just call him the Eagle.
he was there. So that really made the
He was
event that
there,
much
yeah.
more special.
Eddie the Eagle.
So, like I said, the energy was great. I couldn't make the trip to Lansing, but as Nan mentioned, Commissioner Krzyzak was able to. So I just thought I'd ask really quickly for any thoughts you might have on that trip. How did the day go?
I think it went very well. The enthusiasm that was shown at the high school carried on to Lansing, and I have to thank Kevin Deegan-Krause and Ellen and Karen Toomey, who really were the on the ground coordinators. Once we got to Lansing, a lot of the residents were, unaware of kind of the plan of attack, and they did a great job as far as coordinating distribution. We had some awareness materials for all the representatives that the children who came up to Lansing distributed to the offices of the various representatives. Representative Kogan Lipton was a very gracious host and very informative. She sat down with us, the group that had gone up there to speak on the current state of education funding and what people could take back to their districts. Representative Tim Grimmell hosted lunch in his office and spoke very highly of how impressed he was that the Ferndale contingent had showed up. And I guess the takeaway for me was really, you know, a lot of people are, sometimes you feel helpless as far as some of these issues that are dear to people's hearts, and you don't really know what to do. This was a great opportunity to get involved. Kevin, like Nan says, does a really good job of laying out the facts and how regular, normal residents can really make a difference. So overall, I was really inspired by the participation, and it was a day well spent. I feel everybody who went up there really felt like they had made a difference. Now, you know, we're swimming against some headwaters as far as the makeup of the legislature at this time, but I feel people who are really interested in public education really need to stay in tuned, and this is a great opportunity to do that. The advocacy group that the Ferndale School Board has put together, I think will really go a long ways towards keeping the energy of the Lansing trip going forward. So,
Thank you. Tied into that was the day before. Board member Kevin Deegan-Krause came to Fort Ridge and did a presentation on the state of school funding, how funding has gone down, where the funding sources are, where the money comes from to fund our schools, and how it's changed over the years. And like has been mentioned numerous times, you know, this can be a very dry subject, just numbers, and graphs, but he really did an amazing job of presenting it and keeping it interesting. And coincidentally, we will have that on YouTube very soon. We had been waiting on a presentation, but I think we're just going to get it out there, as Scott said. So that event went very smoothly. He also did a presentation at the Ferndale Library that same day. All of this in preparation for that Lansing trip. As he was giving the presentation, the kids were supervised in the teen room by a couple volunteer parents, and they were assembling the gift bags that were given to the representatives in Lansing, which contained like Garden Fresh Gourmet salsa, chips, and some tickets to the, I think it was the high school musical. So hopefully we get some extra participation at that event from
We got
Lansing.
several thank you letters actually from different representatives saying how they thought it was a really nice touch that we had kids delivering packages of like invitations to come to the musical.
It's memorable too, because hopefully that now will give them something to remember. Just it's not this nameless, faceless organization just asking for money or asking for help. Say, hey, they had really good salsa. So we'll have to do that again next year.
And we do have really good
want to give
salsa.
them whatever works.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that event, and as the kind of the first effort for this External Relations Committee, I think they really sprung into action and did an amazing job. So I wanted to thank Scott really specifically for helping us orchestrate this whole event at Fort Ridge. It came together really nicely. It was a good, well-received presentation. So just thank you, Scott, for helping us make that happen.
thank you.
Next, a quick update also regarding the school district, of course, is the Ridger. As everyone here is familiar, we have a publication that comes out pretty much quarterly. We will now see some Ferndale School District content in the Ridger. I believe we had this in the past, but for one reason or another, it fell by the wayside. So now we'll be seeing some notable events publicized there. I believe we'll have one page in the upcoming edition, and that's set to go. So special thanks to Bridget, who's not here tonight, for helping get that all together and kind of work out the process for the future also, so it's an easier thing to get it done every time we have a Ridger coming out. Now I'll just jump to a couple upcoming events quickly. These can be found on the Ferndale Schools website under Schools, and then choose the district calendar. So I'll just blow through a few of them. Tomorrow, K3 music concert at JFK, and also a general music concert at Roosevelt. 7 p.m. Ferndale High School Media Center is the 8th grade parent information night for those parents of kids who will be going to 8th grade at high school. Friday 3/14, March 14th, all day, is Roosevelt Elementary Guest Reader Day, where I believe our esteemed mayor is set to do some reading, or is very interested in doing some reading. So we should hear more about that very soon. Kurt, I don't know if you have any thoughts on which book selection
I was
you
hoping
may like
somebody
to
would give
read.
me
or-
something. No.
Okay.
I have not.
Good Night Moon, maybe. I would suggest
I love
that's always a good
Goodnight
one.
Moon.
Or The Giving Tree. Saturday, March 22nd, 7:30 p.m. is opening night for Ferndale High School Spring Musical, as was touched on earlier. I believe Thoroughly Modern Millie. And I've seen it just Millie, but I think it's Thoroughly Modern Millie. Performances go on through the whole week. following week. So plenty of chances to see what I know will be a great show. A whole week of that, I believe. March 24th from 10 to 11 a.m., another guest reader program. Representative Ellen Kogan-Lipton will be reading to second graders at JFK. Also, the school board meeting is that night, 7 p.m. March 25th, 6:30 p.m., Friends of Different Learners meeting at Harding. That's good, I have theme music. Wednesday.
Put it outside.
Wednesday, March 26th, Professional Development Day, which in kid speak means no school.
Thank you.
April 4th, no school. Beginning of spring break. Hooray. The whole following week, of course, no school. And finally, Monday, April 7th, at 7 p.m. is the External Relations Committee meeting at Harding. This is the committee that we were talking about earlier that looks into advocating for proper school funding. Again, you can always get more information on the Ferndale Schools website, ferndaleschools.org. Nan.
I totally, as soon as I sat down, I forgot you had asked me about the daycare,
yes.
and I have information about that if you want.
Would you mind? Thank you.
Okay. So on Facebook, you, Commissioner Foreman, had seen that that we are getting in the process right now of developing a pre-K plan for the Ferndale School District. It'll go from birth through kindergarten. We're in the development processing of this, and we are going to have our first meeting on March 27th at Harding Administration Building from 6:30 to 8 p.m. We have some of the details hammered out. What we're looking to try to do is offer a daycare that's offered from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We want to know what is it that people need, what is it that people use. We would like some input. Our idea is, on a multitude of reasons, that if we get people into our schools from birth right away, they'll have a comfort level and they'll fall in love with our schools just like I did. Another thing is that if we can offer this to our staff, it'll be a way for us to be able to keep our talent that we so dearly love from leaving when they have children, and then perhaps they will school of choice their children into our district as well, which would be amazing. So there's a multitude of things. We already have the Little Eagles program, which is our preschool, which I'm often told is not very widely known about. So that is another thing that we'll be discussing about, is how can we reach our pre-K community and let them know that we really do have an amazing preschool that my son will actually be attending in the fall. He's turning 3 in May, and several other people that I know too. But this way you could have a preschool, and if you needed aftercare to the preschool, because we now have a daycare, you'll be able to buy into, let's say, and all these are made up numbers, like the daycare was like, or preschool would be from like 9:30 to 12:30, but you worked until 2:30. Then you could buy the 3 extra hours to be able to keep your child in the daycare and then come pick them up. And we're hoping to just make it a lot more convenient for all of our residents and our staff and everything else. And there was a lot of different like numbers on a page. There posted on Facebook was one page from a committee meeting that we had out of like a pack of, it was probably about 20 pages. And so a lot of people had a lot of concerns about the price point of this. Those were just starting numbers, and a lot of those numbers that were even on that one individual page didn't even apply to the daycare program. They applied to our latchkey program, which runs through our elementary school. There was a whole lot of numbers on there of how we would fund it based off of other things, and I think it maybe for some people that were initially interested, they immediately became concerned that it looked complicated, and I don't want them to feel that way at all. There are just some jumping points what we really wanted to do was get a jumping points with some numbers, and then go out and say to everyone, on March 27th at Harding from 6:30 to 8 p.m., we'd like you to come and tell us what you want in a local daycare that is aimed at taking care of our community.
So you want to activate it next year? Is
Yes.
the goal? Okay.
So the goal right now, and I mean this is a soft goal, is that by mid-August I think it would be up and running. So that way for any of our teachers that would be utilizing it when they needed to return to school full time.
next school year.
Yes.
So
the
when,
next school year.
So when do you anticipate coming up with costs? I mean, firm.
I imagine that will be coming really quickly after the March 27th.
Yeah.
I think initially we just wanted to kind of have a feeler. We already have had a number of staff members come and I guess pledge that they'll use the service and what hours they'll use it from. But in order for this to, and we're not looking to make any money from this, we just want it to be a break even and have it be something that just adds to our community. We just want to get the numbers of how many kids we think we'll have in that, and then what does break even mean. And I don't even know what that is right now. We'd like to be obviously at the same rate as what anybody else pays for daycare, because otherwise then it would be silly, because everybody else would go somewhere else.
I have a question about the daycare.
Yes.
Is it going to be year-round, or is it going to be based on the school district schedule?
I don't know. I guess
Because that makes a difference if you have a child that's in daycare and you're working. And it's
it makes a
only during
huge
school.
difference, and I think that's part of the reason why we want to have this meeting is we want to see would just teachers use this, or is this going to be used by other working professionals in our community? Does this need to be a year-round thing? I think we're leaning towards year-round, but we also want to make sure that that's the population that we're really serving.
You have a lot of young children coming into this district, so.
We do, and we have a really, really young staff as well, and with a lot of talent in there. And I often think about how if they live that they would want to work close to wherever their children were in daycare, because that makes it more complicated. And if their child could be in a daycare that was 3/4 of a mile from where they work, I think that would change things up for them, especially if we could give them a discount or have that be.
Man, what are the thoughts on what the location would be?
I think right now we're pretty solid on the location. So it would be Harding Administration Building, which I don't know whether you knew this or not. It used to be an elementary school. So right now there are like 3 rooms that are at the end of the one hallway, and there's windows all on the side that go out to the playground. There's a really nice playground all on the one side of the building. And so those 3 buildings, the one would be like an infant room, and then the other one would be like toddlerish, and then the next one would be the Little Eagles, which is the school. And then there would be interaction. In my mind, I would want for there to be interaction between all 3 of those things, so that way the kids would all know each other as they started to. It would be nice. I know that a lot of people have chosen to do like Drayton or other things because they like the idea of their kids being friends with their friends from age 2 to when they graduate. I know we have tons of seniors at high school now that are posting pictures of them and their friends at Drayton Avenue preschool out, 16 years ago. So
cool.
But yeah. Any other questions though? Obviously you can email me. Jay did, which was really nice, and he emailed me about this, and I had this written down and totally didn't say anything about it, but that's okay, I did now. And so I will actually look it up and then try to remember to tell you.
Great job, thank you, Ann.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that Kevin not only is great with data and school funding, but he also knows a lot about the Ukraine and Crimea. So anybody that he was on DET talking on Craig Colley show, so he
Yes,
knows.
he is. Wow.
So anybody has any questions, Kevin can answer those. Thank you, Commissioner Form. Commissioner Scott, Historical Commission.
Thank you. Just a couple of quick items. The Historical Commission is going to host a lecture discussion around the tile that has been used in the Pleasant Ridge neighborhood. And it's kind of a really interesting topic for the neighborhood because we're at that age, our community started at an age where there's some really wonderful, beautiful tile work that was done in many of the homes within Pleasant Ridge, and George Lenko has offered to give us a presentation on what he knows about tile, and based on some of the work that he's done in his own homes in the neighborhood. And he has also welcomed people that if you have interesting tile work in your own home, snap a picture of it, bring it into the lecture series so that everyone can get a sense of what it is and where the tile may have originated from. It should be a really cool lecture, and that's on April 20th at 7 p.m. I think it's at the community center. The second item is our annual home and garden tour, and that's scheduled for June 20th from 10 to 4. And they're actively seeking homes to participate in the home and garden tour. So if you've done some work and would like to show off your home to the neighborhood, by all means, keep that in mind. And then the last one is one that's just sort of bubbling up within the Historical Commission, is the notion that we're about to celebrate a very important anniversary for Pleasant Ridge, and that's the 25th anniversary of I-696. Completely changed the entire area. We spent a lot of time earlier today talking about the impacts of that intersection for us. And that date is actually December 14th.
Okay.
And so no plans have been made yet, but it just sounds like there should be a party that should be had around this important anniversary. And it might not even be strictly Pleasant Ridge, because it's impacted all of the neighborhoods around Pleasant Ridge. So stay tuned on that one. I think that has a lot of opportunity associated with it. So that might be a cool holiday party for Pleasant Ridge.
We'll all try to walk to Huntington Woods, and Huntington Woods can try to walk to us.
We'll walk like penguins.
We hold hands across a 696.
There you go. There you go.
Red light.
We could put luminaries up.
There we go.
Hey, there's got to be something we could do.
Yes, that was what I had. Thank you.
Question for Commissioner Scott.
Yes.
Will there be some work done to the police booth coming up?
Well, let's see. That's a good question. We have some work scheduled to add a bench to our museum, and that I'm not exactly sure when that's starting, but we've already approved it.
Right, interior work will probably begin shortly, where he's going to actually construct a bench to kind of finish that one wall that's not complete. And then in the spring, we're going to go out and look at getting estimates for the exterior. We have one estimate, it's rather costly, so we're going to try to chunk that up into different projects that we can do that the Historical Commission would be able to fund.
Okay.
And then I have just a correction. The home and garden tour is June 7th.
Oh, sorry.
And then the speaker series is the 28th.
Oh,
well, there you go. Boy, you can't believe everything you put.
Please.
John Ray, 10 Kemberton. I'm on the Historical Commission, and we want to remind everybody this Saturday, the 15th, the Ides of March, the Historical Museum will be open from 10 till 12. Everyone's welcome to stop by. We do have pictures from the survey from 1957 and the survey cards that you can look at your house way back when, and hopefully put some other pictures more current in that file for the future. This Saturday, 10 till 12.
Are you on staff, John?
Pardon? I won't be there this Saturday, but Jim and
Carol
will be there.
Okay, great.
And John, I remembered, I read the minutes again, and I saw you were, is it regarding the 696 celebration or commemoration that you wanted to talk to MDOT, or you were looking
right,
at?
I'm in talking to them, they've sent me quite a bit of information already, and I want to get more pictures.
Oh, cool.
And we'll have a good time. I'm going to get a big sheet cake and put a big trench right down the road.
I love it.
John, we can provide you with
perfect.
a copy of the check that the city received for
We should scan that on the cake.
There is one of them. It's floating around here
nice.
somewhere, so it's not every day you see a check that the state of Michigan has to write to somebody for $4.6 million, especially made out to the city of Pleasant Ridge. So
No.
very
We could make a copy of that and see if we could.
Well, thank you.
Cash it.
Thank you.
There you go. Okay. Anything? Any other? Okay. The next item is consideration of the following consent agenda. First, a resolution recognizing Earth Day, April 22nd, 2014. And B, a request by Clearwater Action of Michigan to solicit door-to-door from March 12th, tomorrow, through June 30th, 2014. Scott?
Yes, the two items on the agenda tonight are just some regular housekeeping items. The Clean Water Action of Michigan is a yearly request that they ask to be able to solicit door-to-door. And of course, Earth Day is coming up, so I recommend consent agenda be approved.
Can you just, I mean, just for the interest of our audience, we always have Purgem and we have other people kind of knocking on our door, and it was very, I didn't realize that they can just do that. They don't even have to tell the city necessarily. They tell the city, they don't need a permit. Right?
We don't allow general door-to-door soliciting.
Right.
Like if somebody's handing out a flyer about their home improvement, a business,
Right.
we don't allow that. We ask them to leave the city. But if you are like a political action group or a religious organization, I believe you do not need to seek permission. But Clean Water Action does send over that letter for us. So they are a 501c3 organization. So.
Right.
What'll happen is normally the police department will get a complaint that there's somebody soliciting. They'll go and speak with that person who's out in the community and let them know that they need to contact our office to, obtain a permit. It's not necessarily a permit. We do put it on the city commission agenda and have you vote on it under the consent agenda item so that it can be out there in the public that these people are going to be out soliciting. And so that's normally what happens is someone will call with a complaint. Clean Water Action, Purgem, they're really proactive about it. They'll send it in, they'll let us know when they're going to be here. It also assists the police department. They provide driver's licenses, names, and car identification and license plate numbers of the people that are going to be in the community.
And I know that people have identification. Do I have an emotion to approve?
Your Honor, I move the consent agenda be approved as recommended.
Is there a second?
I second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. The next item is consideration of the certification of delinquent utility bills for collection on the 2014 summer tax roll.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Humphreys, the city's water clerk, is at the meeting tonight to be able to address this item. So.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor and City Commission. I'm Darren Humphreys, the water clerk. Before you have the list of properties for your consideration tonight. These list does have a past due balance on the water bill, which is 2 quarters or more past due as of November 1st of this year. Currently, there's 34 properties ranging from $25 to $858, which is 14 less properties and $900 less than we rolled last year, so that's a good thing. Upon your approval, I will be notifying these property owners of this delinquency, and I anticipate that majority of these will be paid before the May 1st deadline.
Anybody have any
Mr. Mayor, question. So these are typically, I think I saw something mention they were 2 months delinquent, or is it 2 billing periods?
They're 2 billing quarters or more delinquent as of November 1st.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Mayor, I move that the properties in the city with unpaid water and sewer charges for a period of at least 2 quarters, as certified by the city's water department, be placed on the 2014 summer tax roll as a special assessment.
Is there a second?
Second.
Maybe take a vote.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. I figure you'll get them all taken care of, right?
History proves that they usually pay them before May 1st.
Thanks, Darren. The next item is consideration of the interlocal agreement between the City of Pleasant Ridge and the County of Oakland for certain information technology IT services.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, the agenda item tonight it sounds very vague on the agenda, but that's the way the county sends over this information. This is an agenda item so the city is able to accept credit cards online and to be able to also accept them at the counter. Right now we do have a credit card machine that we have at the counter, but we pay a monthly fee for that, and then there's some additional costs that come into that. So the county has a program where they offer to the municipalities to basically offer that service at no charge. There is some small fees that are with it, but we end up getting that back on as like a chargeback from some of the fees that the counties ends up passing on to the end user. So we've gone back and forth for probably the last 5 to 7 years about being able to do credit cards and especially being able to accept them online. There's a lot of things that come into play when you're talking about online payment security, back-end servers, money collection, and then the actual hosting of the site. Like when people click on a link on our page to go to another page and to be able to link those payments up. So it was nice to see the county is offering this additional service to be able to for people to be able to pay like water bills online. We've had an agreement with the county. It's basically identical to the one we're going to approve tonight for pay local taxes, where you could go on and pay your tax bill and be able to do that on their site. So it kind of takes you off of Pleasant Ridge's site and moves you over to a different site. So it'll be the same type of thing with this, other than it'll look a lot like our page when people are going to do that. So I guess the one thing for the residents to know is that there's a fee to be able to do that online, a convenience fee that the county passes on, and that's based on the amount of money that that your bill is going to be, or however much you're paying. And so when you go and log onto the site and you make your payment, it automatically puts that fee in there, and it says convenience fee to be able to make those payments.
Is it a percentage or is it a flat fee?
It's it ends up being a flat fee based on the amount of the payment, and it ranges from $3 to all the way up to
It ranges from $250 up to $2,750 up to $1,000, and then it's 2.75% after $1,000.
Right.
And then you also can use e-check, where you can do an electronic check through their site as well, and that's an additional $250. So when you're entering all your information in, it comes up on the last screen. It says, okay, here's your payment that you're choosing to make. Here's the convenience fee. Do you still want to make this payment?
Right.
So you still have a chance.
Good.
There's 2 chances actually to back out of the convenience fee if you don't want to. And then you can always come in and make that payment by mail, stop in, whatever you choose to do.
That's great. Okay.
So along with that, we were looking at making this provider our point of sale at the counter too, so we don't have 2 different companies that we're dealing with for credit cards, and it makes it nice for us. Well, right now we have like a regular credit card type machine where it would be this would be hooked up to the computer, and would be a little bit easier for us to deal with the one company. So it'll be nice for people to be able to go on there and pay water bills and some other type services online, and they won't have to come in to City Hall, even though we do enjoy having the company we come through. But it's just a convenience. Some people want to be able to do that. So we're pretty excited about the opportunity to offer this, and as we move forward into the computer age, I suppose. So I guess the one downside is that there's not a back-end server that pulls your water bill amount up onto the screen. That's a whole nother type issue. So you'd physically put in the amount of your bill, from the one you get printed, and then it would just charge you that way, and then we get a report.
So you would know.
Yeah, we would know.
They put something.
Yes, we would know it would be something different, and then we would be able to notify that person.
And we actually expect this to easily pay for itself, and we'll probably get some money.
Yeah,
we'll actually come out ahead.
Yeah, actually, because the amount that they charge us, there's an agreement. The agreement says there's a $900 fee, really, but that's part of the pay local taxes also that we're already collecting money on, and we've never been charged that $900, even as it is. And with the new agreement, you're able to get a little bit of that money back. I think it ends up being it's a small amount, but it's
still
anything's better than nothing, right? It's better than having to pay $17 a month for a machine, and then percentage rates and things like that.
So online, you'd be able to pay tax bills and water bills, You still need to come in, but you could pay with a credit card for like dog permits and permits, building permits and dog licenses.
Yeah, you could theoretically do a dog payment over on the computer, but we don't have any way of validating that.
Right now, you need to bring in a valid rabies certificate.
Oh,
So you would have to do it in-house. If we change the way that we process dog licenses, then that would be something that would be able to be done online. But as it stands right now, you'd have to come in to do a building permit, a dog license, a park pass.
Because they require other information.
Correct.
Right.
Mr. Mayor, questions for Scott. So first off, just to confirm, there's no cost to Pleasant Ridge for this service because we already use the service. We already process enough transactions to cover the $900 fee. The fees that are charged to the residents are basically, they're not profits. They're to cover the cost of providing that service.
That's correct, yes. Every credit card company charges a different percentage to be able to process those payments. You know, you don't, government's a little bit different of being able to cover those costs, because when you go to the store and buy your gallon of milk, that's already included in the cost of the way they do business, whereas we can't necessarily charge on a water bill, you know, an extra $2 to everybody to cover maybe half of the people that are maybe going to pay on credit cards. So that's what those fees are for. And if you notice that they this company takes a Visa, MasterCard, and Discover, like American Express isn't on that list because they're even a higher percentage over and above what the other companies are charging, and we're not able to make it so it could be even feasible for people to do it. The amount is that drastic. So.
Okay. And my last question, over-the-counter payments, if somebody comes into City Hall and they'd like to pay with credit card, it would use the same system. You would just use some hardware that's provided by them, or you go on the website and pay on the resident's behalf?
What we do is they provide us a swipe for the computer to be able to swipe the card, and we go through an online portal that we have on our computer screen. And it would be the same way. We would let the person know, you know, there's going to be X amount of dollar for a convenience fee for that, and before they were approved that, and then they'd have to sign just like they would on any other kind of credit card.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve?
Your Honor, I move the interlocal agreement between the City of Pleasant Ridge and the County of Oakland for certain information technology IT services, online and over-the-counter payments to be approved, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the agreement.
Is there a second?
A second.
May we take a vote?
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Krzyjak?
Yes.
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. Next item is consideration of establishing a public hearing on Tuesday, April 8th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. to solicit public comments to rescind certain ordinances related to Chapter 10 Animals of the Pleasant Ridge City Code.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you. This is something that we've been looking at for a number of years now. The state of Michigan has a law that was enacted in actually 1919 that covers dogs and animals, and in that law there's two sections. One section is that if a city does not have ordinances of its own or laws regarding dogs and the way they're licensed and the way they're taken care of, you know, whether it be stray or vicious or whatever the case may be, that the county must provide that service to you. So at the second section of the law says that a city has the right to enact its own ordinances and laws, and then they take over the duties of animal control. So the county provides this service. We pay for it technically through part of our taxes. All the residents that pay county taxes, and they are currently providing animal control services for over 40 of the 63 city villages and townships in Oakland County. So we contacted the county and said we have difficulty with the animal control because we don't have a facility to house the animals that, you know, a stray dog or whatever. We don't have a Department of Agriculture licensed facility to house those, whether that be a kennel or a full-blown shelter. They have some rules and regulations on how those need to be handled, and we are not able to comply because we don't have that type of facility. So there's one issue that we deal with. The second issue is when we do have an animal that comes in, we usually keep them here in the station, and we'll do. I mean, we've gone out of our way to try to find owners and places for these animals to go. Everybody in City Hall loves animals, and all the police. So, I mean, employees have taken animals home before. I know somebody that runs a shelter. I've given, 3 or 4 of the dogs to the shelter to be able to do it, but it's just not a solid process. And that, we could have an animal that could be here for a few days that, it's just probably not the best ideal condition for like a dog or whatever kind of animal we pick up. So we contacted the county and said, what do we have to do to be able to use your services for animal control? And they have 2 options. One option is to pay you can pay them on a per month or a per animal fee, but you don't get their whole suite of services that way. We would still have to keep the animal here for the 4 days before they would come and get the dog, and then they would put it into a shelter system, and then we pay a fee to them. Or if we rescind all of the ordinances that we have that deals with animal control that is already covered by the state's dog law and the Michigan Penal Code for cruelty, and there's the other laws that are part of the Natural Resources and Environmental Protection Act, then by the state of Michigan law, the county becomes our animal control with no additional costs to us. The one thing that would change is that the county takes over our licensing of animals. So they would get the fees that are associated with people coming in to license their dog. As far as licensing go, wouldn't change for people. They could still come into City Hall and get a license. It would just be an Oakland County tag. And actually they have more options. They'd be able to go online and purchase that license, which we've just talked about. And they'd be able to buy it from a vet when they get their rabies vaccination, or they could go right to the county shelter and do it. So in front of you, we did have a list of those ordinances, and we had a couple meetings with Charlie about this, and what we thought the appropriate ordinances were that we would have to actually rescind. And this wouldn't take away things like the household pets, the leash law, like the number of dogs that you're allowed to have, yard cleanliness. We're not talking about getting rid of any of those. We would be rescinding like the cruelty, because that's covered by the Michigan Penal Code already. We would be looking at destruction of property, interference with the enforcement, vicious dogs, because that's covered also under the state law. And then the major portions that we would look at rescinding would be the licensing part, because we wouldn't be selling license anymore. I mean, our licenses, it would be the county. And then the rabies control, which is all covered under the dog law. And the impoundment, because the county would come and pick up those animals. So we think it's a win-win. The police are 100% behind this, because they'll have another piece at their disposal to be able to free up their time when we do have these animals, and it will go to a licensed shelter. Oakland County Shelter is. Me and Amy went up there last week and visited. It's all the employees were very friendly. They have a lot of volunteers. The shelter was nice. We saw this one little dog. He was walking around. He had to have some surgery, and so they have veterinarian care there, and it was just it was a pleasurable experience. So I think this is a good move for Pleasant Ridge to kind of shore up this animal control issue and be able to go with a top-notch organization like Oakland County.
I know we'll talk about it more at the public hearing, but I know you said that the Oakland County Shelter has a Facebook page, they have pet finders, they do a lot of work to try to find homes.
Yep.
And we've also, just in discussion, it appears that maybe a third of our dog owners actually get licenses for their dogs, probably.
Yeah,
Maybe
we think
40%.
we think it's a pretty low
so.
number, and the county is real proactive, because they
Yeah.
do get the funds from the licenses, so they send out a team of people actually that will, if you didn't get your license renewed, they'll they'll call you and send you letters, and eventually they can send out a team of person that might come and knock on your door and say, hey, we have a dog license, so they really want to. Having the dog license is important. You need to be able to make sure that the rabies are taken care of, and it's just people are being responsible pet owners. So.
Mr. Mayor, question for Scott. Scott, what would you estimate very roughly the city would save in, say, time and money if this change were made? And I know we'll get into this at the public hearing probably, but just your wild guess.
Yeah, it's the mostly it would be police time and just time from staff here that would be dealing with an animal that would be picked up. I know Darren's, whenever we get an animal in, he's right on Facebook taking pictures of the dog, and the police at their desk phone, we bought an app that's like called Find My Dog or something. You take a picture of the dog and it searches all the list of lost dogs around and it tries to find the owner. So like I said, we want the dogs to be in the right hands, but it would be tough. I'd say, it's probably maybe 6 to 8 hours per animal that we get. We get anywhere from 6 to 10 in a year. So 80 hours of staff time, and then money to actually purchase the physical licenses that we have right now. It's hard to put a number on it because it depends on who's doing that, but we only collect about $600 to $800 in license fees from selling the tag. So
right, very minimal.
It's minimal. Yep. And then they have Oakland County has 11 full-time animal control officers. They have part-time people. They have the full-time shelter. So it would be nice to be able to have that behind you, helping you enforce our dog law.
And I guess just the other point to make, even though we're having a public hearing,
no, that's fine. We want to get the word out about this. So.
Is that if it's a Pleasant Ridge dog, even though it's Oakland County, they will make sure that Pleasant Ridge dog owners will be notified. It's not going to be the dog isn't going to go off to Oakland County and disappear. That they will get the same personal attention as they would.
Absolutely. If there is a dog that we get a call saying there's a dog running up Ridge Road, Oakland County isn't going to have an animal control officer in Pleasant Ridge just for us. They're all around. So we're going to take that call. Our officers are going to respond to it, and they're going to have first contact with the animal anyway.
Right.
Bring them in here, and we'll house the animal for the next hour till Oakland County is. In that meantime, we have full disposal of all the license records. We can see what the license number is, and actually, it could be even larger because it might be a license from a dog from Berkeley or somebody else that has Oakland County tag, and we can know right away who it is. So we still follow the same protocol for that, and try to get the animal back to a resident if that's the case before we call Oakland County.
Okay. Yes. One more quick question. And so Oakland County has so it sounds like they would be fairly responsive as far as like they'd be there within that day, within a few hours or something.
Yeah, from our meeting, they would not plan on leaving a dog here overnight. That's not, unless we pick the dog up at 1 o'clock in the morning or something like that. But they would be responsive in coming and getting the animal if it came to that point where we couldn't locate somebody very quickly.
Thanks.
Yep.
Okay, do I have a motion to schedule a public hearing?
Your Honor, I move that a public hearing be scheduled on Tuesday, April 8th, 2014 at 7:30 p.m. to solicit public comments, to rescind certain ordinances related to Chapter 10, Animals of the Pleasant Ridge City Code.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Can we take a vote?
Commissioner Scott?
Yes.
Commissioner Perry?
Yes.
Commissioner Foreman?
Yes.
Commissioner Kuziak?
Yes.
Mayor Metzger?
Yes, motion carries. Well, now I know this next item, I knew that there wouldn't be a lot of people here. I figured they'd all be out shopping for groceries, knowing full well that Armageddon is coming tomorrow. And we may never get out for food again after 4 to 8 inches of snow. But there's been obviously a lot of discussion around road construction projects and the planning for road construction projects and getting clarity in terms of what's going to be done this summer, what's going to be done next summer. And also added to that is the whole discussion around potholes and issues around the roads that are not going to be reconstructed but have a lot of issues. We're going to be talking going forward around funding for infrastructure, funding for roads. How we're going to do this, are we going to schedule roads out for years and years and years, or are we going to try to do more roads at one time and figure out how to pay that? But asked Scott had done a presentation at the Coffee with Commissioners to give a little bit of background on the road construction, where the money comes from, how we're funding these. And I thought it would be great to be on camera, on film, so that people at home would be able to see it and then be able to review it going forward. And so Scott has got this wonderful, we've been admiring his little Brookstone projector. Very cool. And so he's got a little presentation plan.
Well, I don't need it right now, but you can turn the light first, yeah.
Sorry if it's getting a little warm in there. You might want to spread out and get a little air.
Got some waters if anybody.
We do have water. An ad for Brookstone and.
Oh, there you go. Right. Okay, so I am just going to sit down here while I do this, so I'm not in the way of the camera either, and you can still hear me on the microphone. So there has been some discussion about the infrastructure program, so we just kind of wanted to give a quick synopsis of how the funding works for that and how the city goes about basically picking the roads that are going to be constructed. So along with that, I'm going to talk a little bit about the repairs that we're going to look at doing to some of the streets that are have some large potholes and craters that they seem to be in. And that's just not Pleasant Ridge. There's some bad areas all around that we were actually talking about some of them the other day. So, no. Oh, look at that technology. Oh, okay. So here is a road reconstruction priority map that was provided to the city by Anderson, Eckstein, and Westrick. They are our engineers. They have been with the city for 20 plus years, and they have worked on just about every road project that we've done. So this was revised on April 5th of 2013, and I had talked with some of the city commission about how this map is done and how it can change, because a season on an older road can really take years off of its life. So you can see here we have June of 2014, West Cambridge is to be constructed, and then they have the priority list going from there, which is Oxford, Norwich, Hanover, Ridge Road, Indiana, and then Bermuda. Which Bermuda is actually in pretty bad shape, but it's a small road. It's not really highly traveled, so we don't get the complaints like we do. But that would be one that could be probably, we would just throw it in with one of the other projects, because it is a small area, like we did when we did Gainsborough, and like we did when we did the small section of Kemberton there. So it would be just an add-on, like you would add on an alley or another project. So that's the priority map there. So next is the timeline that we have that I kind of have put on here, and of course these are subject to change based on things like how the road deteriorates over time. But West Cambridge in 2014, Oxford in 15. And I put Norwich or Hanover. I kind of interchange them because the streets are almost identical. They're really right on the same line of what kind of condition they're into. So that'll be one that we'll look at as we get to that point. I don't want to promise somebody or say that one is going to be ahead of the other because of the way both the streets look. And then going out to 1819 is Ridge Road. So the Ridge Road is one that is going to be difficult, and it's going to have its challenges because of its size and its connectivity to the school and to the community center. So we'll be working with two different type beasts when we talk about doing Ridge Road, and there are some areas that are of concern on Ridge Road now. So
Transitions.
I know. So the reconstruction schedule we have here is, and this is just to kind of spell it out for for you a little bit more, and it'll make a little bit of sense when we talk about the next slide. So July of 12, we did Maywood, and that was complete. And we used funds from fiscal year 12-13 to do that. So the actual year that the road was constructed, it starts July of 2012. Our fiscal year runs July 2012 to June 30th, 2013. So we used funds from that fiscal year to do that road.
Excuse me, Scott.
Yes.
Just a quick question on that. So the funds from that fiscal year come in with, say, the summer taxes, right?
Correct.
That you may not receive right up front.
Correct.
So where does the city get the money?
We have working, it'd be called working capital.
Okay.
Money that we have to, on July 1, we have to have money sitting in the bank ready to pay our bills, make payroll, even though we're not going to collect our bulk of the 1.4 million that we're going to collect in property taxes probably until usually December. We have a bulk of it in because people usually pay it before the beginning of the year. But all municipalities or type organizations have working capital to be able to cover those type bills. So that's how we would do that.
It's repaid over time.
And we don't, on July 2012, on July 14th or on August 1st when we get our first bill, it's not for the entire project. It would be for the whatever work they've done up to that point, and then we pay them that way. So usually we're not paying off the full amount until well into September or October anyway. So
thank you.
So then in 2013, there was no construction project. We had contractor issues that did not allow that. So we were at the time that we talked about, West Cambridge was the next street for that, and that was bid out. And we have a contract awarded to Delisio Brothers, and they are scheduled to begin that work starting in June as soon as school lets out. So actually, we plan on using funds for 2013-14 fiscal year and part of the 2014-15 fiscal year infrastructure collection. So June of 14, we're really still working in this fiscal year because it would be the June doesn't start, the budget doesn't start over till July. So at one time there was some statements made that Oxford could possibly be done in tandem with West Cambridge or right after it. The funds that these two streets cost together is about $1.3 million. So if we were to do both of those streets at the same time, we would really be using, in 2014, we'd be using funds that won't be collected until 2016/17. So it's becomes a dicey game for us, depending on a lot of things can happen in those 3 years as we're collecting infrastructure funds. The way we budget for them, it's done by a project, so it would be possible to do that. It's just it's going way out into the future. That is, I personally don't feel comfortable with, and I know the auditors are kind of get a little crazy with that one too. So you can see the rest of the schedule. So we have Oxford in summer of 15, and then these two streets are interchangeable there that we're going to reevaluate as we come forward. So after this, we kind of get ourselves caught up with where the funding is for using a couple of years worth of funds for a street, and that's going to reset itself again because there we go. The way the projects are funded. So our mechanism for funding road projects are infrastructure millage. That's our major source. Major and local street money, which is Act 51 money that the city receives from the gas tax. There's a formula for the amount of road mileage we have in the city. I think we have 8.96 miles of road. We earn a certain amount from the state that can only be used for major or local streets. And we have 40% major streets and 60% local streets in the city, and that's how those fundings are allocated. Staff interest funds, if it's available. The last few years it's been so low that we really haven't had much staff interest to put toward the road project. And then the capital projects fund balance, whatever money is left over from the previous year or a carryover year, that would go toward that. So those all get put into the pot. We begin the road project and we /end the road project. And while this is all going on, we begin our pre-engineering for the next anticipated road. topographical surveys, underground investigations, other things like that. So it's a never-ending process that just keeps going forward because it can take some time to engineer a road. So here's the funding table that the mayor said I kind of talked with people at the coffee about. You can see the price of West Cambridge is $639, Oxford $675. I mean that's 2 years worth of funding right there, infrastructure millage alone. So you can see I have that, and you see a large jump in the infrastructure amount here from collecting $600,000 to $750,000. Last year the electorate of Pleasant Ridge approved Proposal B, which was the infrastructure millage. We currently have it, but it expires in 2015. So when the new millage that was just approved kicks in, it will go back up to the 3.0, which was originally approved by the electors, and currently it's rolled back by Headley to 2.4. So when you talk about millages like that, it's in theory it's a renewal, but really we voted in a new millage, so we get to collect that additional 0.6 mil. So that adds up. We'll have an additional money for the road projects.
So that's about 75,000 less per year that we're getting because of the rollback.
Correct.
Will it roll back? Will it start rolling back again?
Yep. From
okay, right away.
Day one, from day after it goes into that process, just like all the villages do. So, if you follow the chart across, there's the total cost. This is the money we can use from local major streets, infrastructure millage, some fund balance that is in that local and major street fund that we've built up over a few years. So that leaves our total funds available for like West Cambridge at $734,000, and that will leave $95,000 left over to carry on to our next project, which would be Oxford at $675. So we keep going through this process, and you can see how then the fund balance to carry over goes here for the next street, and then we eventually start catching up to how much money we have based on because of the smaller streets, and then Ridge Road will hit, and I think Ridge Road is going to have to be a 2-year type project anyway, just the way the community center's on one end and the school's on the other end. So we'll have to look at that, and then possibly leverage Bermuda in with that or something else.
And the capital project fund is empty because it was new for this budget year.
Correct. Yeah, we just implemented that because there's always some budget tension with the auditors and with the staff about starting a project before July because you couldn't technically bill anything into that, but the capital projects fund allows you to bill based on the actual project and not your fiscal year, so you're able to carry some of those costs over 2 fiscal years. So now we kind of go into the winter that we've had. I contacted Larry Yaffa from Brylar, who's our DPW service provider, about the potholes and just the beating that the roads have taken. So he contacted a company that is local that has a process for filling these potholes with a different type material that we'll show you kind of how it works in the next slide. And we've used it before in the city and it's been successful. So we're going to start that as soon as this weather breaks and some of the water gets out of the holes. The crew, this is a longer term product. It's not just stuff that we throw in the hole just to kind of get us through for a few weeks. This lasts, and like I said, we've used it in a couple other places in the city, and it even lasted through this winter that we had. So some of the major areas that we've put in, this definitely is not all of them. Ridge Road in Kemberton and the Cambridge where the school is, and the manhole covers are pretty bad. The Kemberton area especially. Millington near Woodward has some bad areas. Oxford, I know that we're going to be reconstructing this road next year, but after I talked to AEW, they thought putting some of this product down in some of the areas would help prolong the life, and they think it would be good to spend a little bit of money. Yeah, spend a little bit of money on it just to be able to get it through and go through there, and then we're going to reevaluate that as the weather turns to Oxford to see if it can make it through. Yeah. Kensington, Devonshire Alley, where we always have some issues with that. Woodward Heights near the city limit. Now, me and Amy drove that today, and Rodney did put down some coal patch that's actually held up pretty nicely in that area, but I think we're going to have him put down this product anyway. It's right at the intersection of the Ferndale-Pleasant Ridge border. So part of it is actually Ferndale's. That intersection gets split right down the middle. Part of it's Ferndale and part of it's us. So it's a weird corner, but I think we're gonna put some of this product down there at that area just because it will last longer.
And then the section that's not just a pothole, it runs.
Yeah, it runs along. It's the ASR breaking at the joints. Yep. And then we just have some other areas like Bermuda that we looked at today. It was had some bad spots and just some holes that we've labeled throughout the city. So as far as West Cambridge goes, there are a couple of bad spots. We're just going to use a temporary product on that because that's going to be tore up here within a month or two. So we don't want to go through on that. So I think this one is one with my video. Couldn't resist putting my video music in there. So this is how this is sped up. This is how the product works. It actually is sprayed on. And we had a demo of this product on a couple streets last year, and it's held up pretty nicely. So the difference, I couldn't resist my video because it was in fast forward.
It's good.
The difference is with the product that we've used in the past, and this company, you'll see they actually bring a small roller, and after it's done, they roll it down to help flatten the area and make it adhere even better. So there you can see the roller kind of go through, and it's you can drive on it like right then. So it's real. It's crazy. I mean, they have one or two guys, a crew can do it, and they'll get through, and it's a little bit more expensive than what the coal patch is, but like I said,
it's still holding up, isn't it?
Yeah, there's
I know there was
a lot of
the one
areas.
section on Oxford that you did, right?
Yep, right when you turn onto Oxford from by the school,
Yeah.
we did a large portion there, and it's held up through the winter. So, and a large section of the DPW lot down at the end of Amherst there, that was done like 6 or 7 years ago. So they label this a permanent solution,
right?
Where it can have a lifespan of 5 to 10 years.
Where it's absolutely not smooth and lovely, but it fills in a hole. Your car is not
absolutely,
right.
and when bringing the roller out, it will help that. It'll help smooth it a little bit.
Right.
But it's really to repair the road, get it to a condition where your tire's not getting swallowed by the hole, and to prolong the hole from growing, because that's what happens. A plow truck comes through and hits the edge and starts popping it up even more. So, like I said, some other cities have used the same contractor with great success. Fraser, Roseville, Warren, a number of them. And actually, I had a meeting with AEW yesterday, and Frank said, "Oh, I'm going to send you a name of a company we've used before, and they're great." And he sent me, and it was the company that Larry had already contacted, so it ended up working out good. So. Here's some examples from their website of the type of work that they can do. This is around the drains. This is the ASR that I talk about, where there's defects in the concrete that you can't tell until about 5 or 6 years after it's poured. So they fix those up into some larger areas, and it does a nice job of keeping them so they last.
Is that covering up drains?
It doesn't cover it up. They actually, because they're able to precision shoot it in there because they're using this gun, so it just goes all around it, and then they take like almost like a putty knife and go around the drain to make sure that it's not.
I see. You put
you can see
that. Yeah, it's right there. Yeah.
I was grouping them wrong.
Yep. So.
Great.
So looking ahead, West Cambridge is begin in June. Oxford, the process has begun for Oxford. The sewer cleaning actually they started today, of televising and cleaning that sewer. So I was out there with the guys for a little while, and our representative from AEW was there with them. So they actually were able to get a nice. There was a nice sized root in the sewer. They were able to cut out and remove it. So Frank said it. Right when they got that out, the sewer started flowing a lot nicer. So. Again, I'm going to go out there with our principal from AEW, Roy Rose, and evaluate Oxford as soon as the weather permits to see, can it make it till next summer? Should we move it? Should we move it ahead and see how we can fund that if that's a possibility? If they have some concerns about the condition of the road, And a lot of times that condition comes from the sewer video. If the underground underneath is crumbling and has some real problems, then we need to look at moving that out. And also along with that, last year AEW did a thorough review of all the streets, even the ones that have been completed, and gave us a report about some things that they would recommend us looking to do in the next 3 to 5 years, some joint and crack sealing, just to keep the roads in solid shape as we move forward. So we do have that report, and we'll start looking at that as soon as we can to get those things done too. And
excellent.
That's it.
I have a question. Please.
Okay. Yeah, we can probably put the light back on there, and I'll shut this off.
Pat Church, 46 Oxford. Scott, the amount of money that West Cambridge is going to cost, was that the amount from last year, or is that a new assessment of how much it's going to cost?
For West Cambridge, that was the amount that was awarded on their contract.
From last year?
From last year. That is a solid amount.
Okay.
And actually, AEW has contacted the Licio brothers to see if they would be willing to extend those prices out to Oxford as well. So that might help us with that too. So we theoretically could get concrete prices from 2 years ago
Okay.
for the next street, but there's an evaluation process that goes with that.
So if Cambridge had been done last year like it was initially supposed to be, wouldn't we be doing Oxford also this year?
Not necessarily.
No?
Not necessarily, depending on how the
2
funding,
years.
there's still,
Still the
it's
funding.
still 2 years worth of money, no matter how it's looked at. It's just a matter of, and I explained it at the coffee, at the time the infrastructure millage hadn't been passed, hadn't been renewed. So we would have, if it wouldn't have been renewed, we would have had X amount of dollars to be able to finish up West Cambridge and Oxford, which would have been the full amount of both the streets. So it would have been much more easy for us to say, okay, we're just going to do this. The rest of the infrastructure money we collect is going to go to Oxford and do that, knowing that we're not going to collect any more money for infrastructure. But as we move forward and start spending money that we really haven't collected yet, we can get into it can be tough to say, okay, we're going to spend $630,000, but we're not going to really collect that money until 2016 or 17.
Okay.
And it's a comfort level that
It's roughly 2 years of collection to do one of the big roads.
correct. And the same was with Oakdale. We had skipped a year before we did Oakdale because Oakdale was like doing 2 large streets. And like I said, if when AEW comes out there and they say, oh, we just really don't think it can make it another season, then we'll have to reevaluate that and see if we're able to, if we have to move it up and look at the collection that way. So, okay.
I think the most difficult concept is the fact if it was done last year, we were still going to be using next fiscal year's dollars to pay for it.
Correct.
So whether it was done last summer or this summer, it's still the same
It's still the
dollars.
same fiscal
It's
year.
the same fiscal
Yeah.
year dollars.
Yeah,
And
because
so
we
it's
wouldn't
just-
have started West Cambridge until July. So it's still this fiscal year, so
it's
that
gonna
doesn't
tap-
change.
It's going to tap out the next fiscal year.
Correct.
but
Correct.
Limited.
So Mayor, question for Scott. Scott, when would you envision, or what are the requirements for us to start the repairs of these roads? I assume it has to be dry. When would you see this happening?
The product can be laid in the cold, but they have their success rate for it lasting goes down if you do that. So I envision as soon as we can get a dry road and a couple days of thaw, and they should be able to get going. So I wish with the winter we've had, I wish I knew when those days were going to come. But like today Rodney had even a hard time getting the temporary product in some of the holes because I mean they were I couldn't tell where one of the hole was because it was full of water. So with the water in the hole and then it freezes, that's why it just pops it right out. So I hope it would be within the month, and I know that doesn't sound very promising, but as soon as we have this window where we can get them in, we're going to get them in. So
What's the cost of the cold patch just for temporary relief in some of these areas?
it's expensive right now because it's hard to get we couldn't even, we had to buy it by the bag today.
Wow.
Because we couldn't get it,
That can't
we
be
couldn't
good.
get it in bulk because it's not available. So it's, but we had to, I mean, the Kemberton Ridge Road was, where somebody get hurt. They're driving their car, they hit it, so, it's costly, but we do have some, money in the road funds. It doesn't come out of the general fund, it comes out of those local and major street money that we get from the state to be able to do these type of repairs. And yeah, it's expensive for those accounts, but it's something that we have to do. It's the public service that we have to provide.
Someone had mentioned this a moment ago. Should we put up cones a couple places? Especially since we can't patch immediately?
Yeah, we had looked at that, and I have to talk with the police a little bit more about that. They're concerned about, like on Ridge Road, we had said, oh, that maybe we can put up a cone by that hole. But what people do is then they start looking, oh my gosh, there's a cone, and oh, I better get away from that cone. And then there's oncoming traffic, and it creates it can create a larger hazard than what it is. But if it's only going to be for a couple of days, and we might do that as we get closer to when we know the company's going to come out to do it, so people will know that it's going to be taking place. But if they get bad enough and the patches just aren't working, we may have to put out a barricade out there or something like that. So just we're trying to patch it up and get ourselves on the move here, because it's, and like I said, it's not only us that is really dealing with this problem. It's
everybody's waiting for spring.
Yeah, it's pretty bad everywhere. So.
But we have Brylar kind of ready and poised to get on this as soon as we make the call. That it seems it won't take long at all.
They've already met with the company. They've already been out here. It'll just be a matter of okay, we anticipate this happening, and we can call them and get them scheduled up.
Great.
So it will, as soon as it can take place, when we know the money we're spending is going to be money well spent, and the product is going to have its full life, then we'll get them out on it.
Thank you.
This was very helpful. Thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
I also wanted to say that there will still be discussions around that whole series of roads that need to be, and as you said, if some of the roads if Oxford starts looking bad under the surface, that we may need to start to tackle these things earlier. We may start looking at other funding, how we might want to do it.
Yeah, there's ability
these are all things
to leverage the infrastructure millage on bond dollars, or loan the money to ourselves from other funds. There's different things that are out there. It's just, I lean toward the more conservative side on that, especially if we start talking about selling bonds, you don't get as great a rate on a regular millage as you would a general obligation.
No, exactly. Great. Well, the next item is city manager's report. It's a big night. It's a big night, man.
Just a couple things real quick. Jason already touched on the euchre tournament on March 20th. We have the board review. They're going to convene at the community center. And walk-ins are welcome. There's no more, you're not able to call for an appointment any longer, but you are able to walk in, and that'll be March 17th from 1:30 to 5, March 18th from 1 to 5 and 6 to 9, and then March 19th from 6 to 9 p.m. And for those that don't know what the board review is, you're able to go and see, to basically go in and talk to the board and the assessors from Oakland County about your assessment. So if you think it's too high, you're able to plead your case and see and possibly get your tax assessment lowered. I guess you could go in there and ask them to raise it too if you wanted to. We wouldn't mind that. So it's part of the process of the assessing department. So Planning Commission Goals and Objectives Workshop, as Ann mentioned, March 20th. Utility bills are due March 25th by 5 p.m. You can always put those in the drop box behind City Hall. A couple of our clubs in town are going to have some events coming up. The Women's Club Scholarship Fundraiser is their spring brunch that's titled Inspire, Succeed, and Celebrate, is going to be April 5th at 11 a.m. at Fort Ridge. And that is an event that you must RSVP to, and you can RSVP to Pat Ward, and I'll give her phone number out since it's going to be in the newsletter anyway. I don't think she minds. So it's 248-548-2921. So if you can give Pat Ward a call and RSVP for that great event.
Scott, or Mayor, Scott, are tickets available also? I think they've been available at City Hall before.
No, not for that.
Not for
Not
this
for
one.
that, okay.
Not
Or
for
at
this
the
one.
rec center? No,
Only
okay.
through Pat. And they've already sold a number of tables, so.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So it is a real popular event. It's a great service that the women club provides. So the next club event we have is a garden club. It's titled Traveling Through Michigan Wine Country, and it's presented by Brian Crows of Holiday Market. I think that's how you say his name, I'm not sure. But that's April 7th at 7 p.m. at Fort Ridge, and you can RSVP to Edie Ho at 248-541-5126. You can send us an email on that one too, because I can just forward it on to Edie. I don't think they're going to have, they don't have the table issues like the Women's Club would for their event. This is kind of like a speaker series type thing that the Garden Club does. So again, that's April 7th at 7 p.m.
Is there a cost for that?
There is not a cost for that. That's just, they do a couple speaker type events every year. They've done like how to care for your trees and rain barrels they've done one time. So they do these a couple times a year. So this is the one for April. So no cost for that. And then it's Snowmageddon allegedly approaching us. If we'd ask residents to please remove their vehicles from the street, and this assists the plow trucks in clearing the roads. It also assists in your car not getting plowed in on the street and getting ticketed and for being out there for too long. So we ask you to be neighborly about it, and if you are able to pull in your driveway but tonight, please do that, because when I talked to Rodney tonight, the schedule for snow was after midnight. Actually, it was supposed to start about 8, but now they say after midnight, and then it's really going to hit at about 4 a.m. So he probably won't be out until we get that. They're saying an inch an hour. So after we get that second hour of inch of snow, then he'll be out. So if we come out before that, it doesn't do any good for the roads. So the second part of that is that the temperatures are supposed to drop down to sub-zero again. So when that happens, the salts
It stops working.
it stops. It's not as effective. So just be safe and drive careful. I know everybody's been that way this winter, but it's we're done. This is we can start to see some green that's coming back. And then also remember, homeowners are responsible for clearing their sidewalks in front of their properties, and please don't shovel the snow from your driveway back into the street. It's just going to come back in the mouth of your driveway eventually anyway. So just make sure you're being safe, and hopefully we don't get as much as they're calling for. So that's it for me.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask, I mean, as you said, homeowners are responsible for their, just having 2 nice days and actually walking small dogs out there. Notice that there are a couple homes where either they're vacant or I'm not quite sure, and the sidewalk is still ice covered. So I would just ask if there are residents out there that know they have a vacant house next door, if they wouldn't mind actually helping and doing a little shoveling as well, because
And a lot of those properties, we've posted warnings with them, or the police have gone. Some of them are vacant, or the person was on vacation when we had one big snow, and they can't get it up. They can't get the ice up now because it was so thick. So,
there was one on Maywood that I know could have been picked up.
Yeah, it's just so we
And
had.
if I'd had a shovel with the dogs, I would have done it, but so I do ask that. Okay, other business. Is there anything? Yes, sir.
Just want to make the book club announcement for this month. We'll be meeting Wednesday, March 19th at 7 p.m. in the community center to discuss the novel Snow Falling on Cedars by David Gutterson. So there is a talk to move into some works of fiction. We had been basing most of our conversations on nonfiction works, but a few of the members were interested in examining some works of fiction, and this was highly recommended. So we look forward to that discussion. Snow Falling on Cedars, Wednesday, March 19th at 7 p.m.
Sir?
Yes.
The Scott, I saw someone had posted something about dog licenses being due. Are they all due at the same time?
Yes, all the licenses you're supposed to, without having a penalty, by March 15th.
Okay.
So that date is coming up, but if you get it after that, it's what, $5 more or $4.50 more. I think it goes from
$7.50 to
$7.50 to
$12.50.
$12.50. The one part of that is your dog run pass also expires on the 15th. So if you don't renew that, on the 15th your dog run pass will be shut off actually. So if you go to try to use it, it won't work. So that kind of will force you to come in and get a new one and a license if that's the case. So March 15th is the date for that.
Okay, thank you.
Just a couple other dates since we've talked about Recreation Commission, we've talked about Historical Commission. Just to remind people that we continue to have the Citizens Advisory Committee meetings, and the third one will be this Thursday, the 13th, at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 9 at Four Ridge. They've been very informative. I think this time we're going to be getting into special funds and a much more detailed on the budget. Last time it was about the general fund and everything. Lots of good questions coming from the group, and Scott and our consultants have been doing a great job presenting the information and really generating. We now have officers that have nominated themselves and been elected, so it's moving along really well. And so that'll be the 13th and again on March 27th. Also, I wanted to just update people in terms of the city manager search process. The application deadline was March the 4th, which was last Tuesday at 5 o'clock. We will be meeting next week with the consultant from MML to go over the applications, to get her her details on how she is. She's reviewed all the applications. She's going to kind of give us her feel and her recommendations. We'll also be scheduling at that time, or at least talking about scheduling, an open house where we will invite the community to meet. We will come down with our final, probably 5. The idea is probably to get 5 finalists, and we will have a community-wide open house where everybody from the community will be invited to meet the 5. We'll ask each one of them to kind of give a very brief introduction, give a little information about themselves. They won't do a formal presentation. It'll be very informal. You can interact with them. You can ask them questions. We've talked to other city managers who have gone through processes similar and found that they've been tremendously helpful prior to their interview, to going through the formal interviews, because they get to understand from the community what the issues are. Issues that they don't learn from looking at websites or doing much search or even just talking to the commission. So getting a real feel for what citizens are interested in, what are their issues, what are they looking for in a city manager, and then we would schedule the actual formal interviews, which will open to the public to come in and listen. So that process should be moving forward next week when we have that meeting. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
2 things. One is an update, just to let everyone know that the Junior Commission minutes are now posted on the city website, as well as the agendas, which have been there. The minutes are now there as well, so you can find them from the navigation menu under meetings, I believe it is. Last is a question regarding the CAC. Will we at our future meetings be getting a liaison report?
Yeah, we should do that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Sorry to do that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It wasn't on the agenda to date, but we can certainly add it to the agenda. Yes.
Good.
Thank you.
And as we move forward, that group will have actually information that they're giving back to Mr. Zach. Right now, we're in the feeding them information, so that'll probably be key as we move forward to make sure we'll add that to your list there, Brett.
Perfect.
And just, to make everybody aware, on the homepage, the city's homepage website, all the CAC materials, you can click on it, get all the budget documents, every presentation. There's so much information there. It'll take weeks to go through it, and we're putting the agendas, we're putting the minutes of the meetings, everything is up there, but we really do want the public to come and sit through the meetings. They're very informative. You get to see community folks who probably you don't even know who are on the committee, really get an understanding of the dynamics, and I think it's a very great experience, I think. So look forward to seeing more people attend. Is that it? Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second? Whoa. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned.